Welcome back to the Witch's Way podcast. I'm Kat.
And I'm Jamie, and today we are talking about how witchcraft doesn't come with a syllabus. That's like the best way to describe it.
Yeah, there's no book of witchcraft to follow. You know what I think about?
Or a course. Because I think when I was writing this, I thought about, I'm going to go learn witchcraft, like signing up for a college course. I'm going to learn how to cook. And they teach you like basic steps and Yeah, there's no syllabus like that. There's not like here's how we're going to learn witchcraft.
I guess I think of it more from the religious perspective of like if you're a Christian, you have the Bible to follow, right? And you've got all these words that were written and all this stuff, and that's what Christians follow is the Bible or the Quran.
But that's not the only thing. You have like a community where people will bring you in and they will just start you on some shit.
Well, yeah, you got Sunday schools and like catechism when I was growing up. Catechism, which is... Catechism, okay, that is...
Catechism. Isn't that like a hole in the ground? Sorry. Yeah.
No.
Catechism?
Oh, no,
I visited one in like Upper New York.
No, catechism is religious education for Catholics. Young, little kids.
Oh, fuck, I gotta look up that word now. I visited something called like...
I don't actually know if that's the meaning of it. But what it was is every Saturday we went to church school, and spent time learning.
You went to an education
center.
And
so for catechism, the goal of catechism was to get you knowledgeable enough so that then you could go on to make your first Holy Communion, so that you could then take communion, because you had to be educated about communion. They didn't just start handing out wafers to little kids, when they're like 2. No.
They didn't?
No. Not in the Catholic Church.
Well, we're going off on a subject. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
I know.
We're talking about witchcraft. It doesn't come
chasm.
with... You're thinking chasm. Yeah.
I am. I'm thinking chasm because I went to the Ausable Chasm.
We're really off track now.
I know. Okay, sorry. She threw a word in there, and we're wordsmith type people, okay? Like, just always have been. So when I hear a word, I'm like, wait, that's very relatable to this other word, which can sometimes give you the meaning of a word, and this is how nerdy we are, okay?
This is how nerdy we are. Anyway, what we're talking about today is how there's no syllabus or course instruction or manual or...
starting place. There's not like this... pre-designed thing to introduce you to witchcraft.
Here's what you do first.
Right.
There's none of that.
There's no place to go. There's no central education for it. There's no agreed upon either, which is one of the beautiful parts, but also a hard part of it. There's nothing that's agreed upon where it's like every witch starts here, or, because it is such an individual choice, practice, everything that you do in it, you really make it your own. I think that's one of the hardest things that people have when they want to get into like witchcraft, spirituality, finding their inner witch, awakening the witch, like all these terms that are very out there in the world now, right? Yeah. Awaken your inner witch. Well, what the fuck does that mean? And where do I start? And how do I do that? Like, I know I have these things about me. I like all these things are associated with witches.
Also, you want a path to follow, a spiritual path to follow that's not secular, that's secular. That means not religious, right?
Secular, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so you want a different path, that's not related to some religion.
Tied to that, tied to these other beliefs. So when I was thinking about, as I was writing this for a podcast idea, really it's like, it's been so much that Kat and I have talked about this, but where do people start and how do they get through the beginning, like phase of, all right, you make a decision, you start getting interested, maybe you follow accounts, you do the normal thing, right? You're like, just like if you wanted to get into gardening, you're like, okay, I'll go follow some gardening accounts, like maybe I pick up a couple of gardening books. And then you start building a gardening practice, sort of, right?
Yeah. Well, so of course, how I got interested in it was I was around you and your sister who were practicing.
Yeah, we basically shoved it down your throat. No, I'm just kidding.
Not really. No. Not really. I was intrigued.
We just showed you what we did. We were like, Mom, we do this.
Yeah, I saw what you did, the practices you did, the rituals, and
we invited you in on them.
And I was intrigued by it. Yeah, and you invited me in. I took part in them.
Yep.
I remember the one that we did where we
at the beach. Oh.
Well, we wrote notes. We wrote things that we wanted to let go of, like painful things that we were like, I'm not going to, and we wrote them and we burned them in the fire pit.
Yeah.
out by your pool.
Yeah,
You remember
that's-
that? I
of
can't
course.
remember what the...
I do that so many times a year. Like, so I've done a lot of them, but I remember a couple that we've done around the pool where, remember the time we just threw in all the scrap pieces of paper also, and we just said it out loud because it was like, okay, to write them all down.
Yeah.
And that was, gosh, was that just last year? 2 years ago?
One I know we spoke out the words, and it was things that we were just letting go of that were like really painful for us, and saying
them out loud.
saying the words out loud.
Yeah.
You know, will make you cry.
It brings up the
because-
emotion of it, yeah. I have things like that where, you know, anytime to talk about some of the hurts and pains that I don't think I'll ever fully, it may not ever fully heal, but I know that I'm always working on it and like allowing it, having grace with it. You know, some months or years are harder than others to like lose somebody in your life, or just the things that you have trauma around, you know, parenting stuff, whatever.
Parenting stuff. As moms, we have a lot of mom guilt.
A lot of mom stuff, yeah.
And I remember that was central to what Jolene was releasing at that time.
Yeah.
But you know, so the other way you can come
was
in.
nice because you had like, witches around you.
I had people around me who were practicing that I could emulate then, and pick up things that I wanted to do that
And
they were
ask a
doing.
million questions.
And ask lots of questions and start purchasing like 100 books.
Making her
that-
witchcraft library.
So witchcraft library of all these things I wanted to learn, and I didn't. Most of these books, except for one, which was the Solitary Witch's Green Book, which was basically my guide. How I like.
that was a book that you really felt connected to, and that you did all the things.
I did. I felt very connected to it. It introduced me to all of the topics, all a wide variety. It gave me simple things that I could do to try, like scrying and you know. Just what some other things. Some things I didn't really resonate with. Like, I don't know, there was something with a bath, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just not, that didn't appeal to me, so I didn't do that.
Yeah.
But, so I had a book that I also, like, kind of became my Bible, if you will.
Your witchcraft Bible for starting your journey.
We actually, I was so, we ended up making a series out of that, the Beginner Witch series, and turning that, using the contents, the book as a guide to create that
the
series.
Ideas of how to help somebody start.
How to help somebody start, because it pretty much covered everything from, you know, tools to altars to spell work to ingredients to correspondences, and even things that were divination, just all of it. It touched, and just a little bit, just enough to get you exposed to it so that you could decide whether this is something that felt like it was meant for you at that time.
Yeah.
So, but for you, I find your story remarkable, because you started witchcraft before witchcraft was popular and anybody was talking about it.
Or it wasn't accepted. It wasn't talked about. There weren't shops for it.
There was barely
any books.
The
internet was still really new.
The internet was new.
I'm like, fuck. Like, if I had lived in a bigger city, maybe. And, I mean, right when I started my journey at 17, I went in the Navy, like, a year later. So, also, I was starting my new life, my career. I was traveling. Like, I wasn't in one place. That didn't stop me from going to bookstores and looking for resources. And if people felt like, you know, I would bring up, like, tarot, mediumship. At that time, just because I couldn't have a lot of stuff, I wasn't super into crystals. Not that I didn't love them, and of course amethyst has always been a part of my life because it's my birthstone, so I knew some crystals and some meanings. And then, like, we had astrology was huge in our family, but we never thought of it as like being part of the witchcraft world. Astrology was sort of in its own sect for us. And we had the book, we had that one, the relationship book, remember, where you like your stars and your number and like all
I
like
had
finding
a bunch
your
of
match.
different books about, like the birthday book. Remember
birthday book.
big birthday
Yes.
book? It's like every day of the year it
Yes.
tells you about the people born on that day.
Yep. And we would read that. I mean, my sister and I grew up reading that since we were probably early teens.
Yeah.
You had that book.
Yeah.
So I already kind of knew. That's what got me into numerology. So I went head over heels into numerology early, like 17, 18 years old.
Yeah.
And Shirley Lawrence Blackwell. I don't remember which way her name goes. But she wrote 2 amazing numerology books, and those were my Bible. So, like, when I really started, I started with numerology, tarot, astrology.
Yeah.
And, like, the significance that there's this underlying language patterns that you're, like, the way that you think matters in how you live out your life. So I got into the metaphysical part of it, or I guess that's what you'd say now for, like, mindset and Joe Dispenza stuff.
Yeah.
That was actually really heavy in my early years.
Yeah.
Versus now, all the tools that are available, like crystal shops everywhere and jewelry and like all the little tools that are so fun.
Well,
and
now
pretty and
you
aesthetic.
literally cannot go on any social media without seeing something about some witchcraft somewhere or TikTok or anything, unless you just don't follow those. So now it is all around us, and I don't know if that makes it better. If you're brand new and you
think it
don't,
makes it so
and
much
all
harder.
you know is like what you've been exposed to via social media, then where do you start? It feels to me very overwhelming, because when I look, and I love the witch posts, I love when they do their spells and the music and all the aesthetics.
the aesthetics of it,
I mean,
yeah.
the
It's
aesthetics
very
of it are like,
pleasing.
man, it really draws me in, right? But the other thing about seeing all that, especially as if you're a new witch, is like, is that what I need? Does my house need to look like that? Does my space need to look like that? Do I need to have all of those
Start
things?
getting comparison stuff, right?
Yeah, and it's hard not to
Yeah.
feel like you have to do all of these things or look a certain way, or that you have to have certain things.
Do certain practices,
Yeah.
abide by these ideas, thoughts, theories, whatever. So I think the hardest thing, because if witchcraft doesn't have a syllabus and there's nobody really to tell you, like, here's where you start.
Yeah, step 1, do this.
Step 1.
Yeah, week 1, do this.
Right. It's kind of like you have to try to research, and then you're still, as you research, you're always going to be subject to, okay, this is what this person does, and then you've got 5 other people doing it a different way, and this person's like, this is the wrong way, this is the right way. So you've got that out there as well.
I cannot believe how much of the right and wrong way stuff goes on in the astrology community, because of course, I'm like following all
Yes,
of
of
these
course.
astrologers, and it's a topic that I follow on Threads. And I'm just really shocked at people, like one astrologer's calling out other astrologers for saying things like, why is everybody saying that because Jupiter's in Cancer now, everybody's having a great year now because Jupiter moved into Cancer. Expansion, Jupiter's expansion for the next 12 months, Jupiter will be in this sign. And, the astrologers who are talking about people saying that are like, that's pop, you're not helping anybody. It's not for everyone. Everyone's not going to be like that. And you know what? They're right. Because there's a lot of layers to astrology. So you can't, one of the things about astrology that I started out with was, I really was like, why does my sign not ever fit? Why does my horoscope never feel like it's about me? Well, that's because there's so many layers and, so many things to consider. There can't, truly, daily horoscopes are meant for the masses, and they really don't hit that many people, because not that many people have the placements that line up. So.
Right, that they might be calling from.
But anyway, in the astrology community, it's the same thing where they're like, this bitching, and I'm like, oh my God, can't we just all be nice?
Love and light,
Do we have to criticize each other, or
Yeah.
even point out so what if someone else is saying that?
Doing it different.
Although I know that it's if somebody was to tell you something crazy about witchcraft, I don't know, something really gross. I'm just thinking get the bones of something, and use them for whatever. I mean, there's kind of this middle line where it's safe, and then people can go off on the deep end in one way or the other.
Yeah. Yeah, that we've experienced some things like that with when we had our meetup group. We had some instances where
we did.
It was just not condoning that, because I think that there's a morality that you have to build for yourself on what you believe is when it comes to right and wrong. It's really not about the practice itself. It's but I don't know.
Well,
I don't
we
even know
talk
how to
about
address
ethics.
that.
That's,
ethics, morality of it.
The ethics.
What do you think is right? Do you think that you should be able to go purchase an animal from a pet store, and then I'm going to use air quotes and say it in the nicest way, unalive them and use them for witchcraft? Do people really think that that's fucking like that's going to make them more powerful. Like I think that when they get into that, where they think that they're doing blood magic and they're doing all these things that feel really crazy, the mindset of that is because they need to do something that feels so extreme it has to work. It's like, look what I did. I took something. Like whatever the fucking feeling is there. Like, I don't know. I don't want to unalive anything. I don't even, sometimes when I'm stepping through the grass, I'm like, I hope there's no ladybugs in here. I hope there's no caterpillars right now. Like I'll look down and just be aware.
You are that person.
I know. I can't help myself.
I know.
It's like to a bad fault.
Yeah.
It's why most of my yard, I would like it to just be the gardens, but I have to put a pathway through so I know I'm not stepping on anything and killing it.
Yeah.
It really fucks with me. You know, it just does.
Okay, so circling back to, so we talked a lot about a lot of different areas, like when you're starting witchcraft and you don't really have any guide and you're kind of left out there you're left to your own devices is what you are. And
Or
you're left
everybody
to,
else's devices.
Well, yeah, you're left to find your own path. So how do you like choose your path? And I know for me, it was things like I went to what I was drawn to. I bought more books on topics that I was interested in.
Yeah.
So
Things that you were already like,
like something
I want to know more about that.
Yeah, I want to know more
Why does
about
this
that.
work?
I want to
Why
explore
do we
that.
have this?
Yeah, I want to know more about, whatever it was. Like I bought a number of spell books. I don't know how many spell books I bought, but I bought a whole bunch of different spell books.
Do you have a favorite one?
No, I don't, because I never really used them. I ended up never really using any of the spell books that I bought, but I think they're really good for reference in case you want to go and make them your own. But I think the reason why I didn't use the spell books is because very early on, we had that one exercise where you had me go around the house and find things that were related to the spell that we were doing. Like find things.
You thought reminded you of it.
Yeah, I was going to do a spell for, I think it was a love spell. And it was like, go find things in in the house, just anything random, whatever it is that comes to your mind that that makes you feel this way about, that would go with this. So, and I remember distinctly that one of the things I did was I had a pair of black panties with a little bow, on them. You know how you got the little bow I cut that off and I made that part of my spell because, for me, love is also
includes sex. Love includes sex. Yes.
Love and sex go together. Love and intimacy go together. Right. And so I definitely wanted to bring that
element into it. You're like, this is important.
Like, don't forget about the sex. Yeah. Love is great, but
also I need a good shagging. Yeah.
Exactly.
But I think that's where.
So I think that's why I didn't use the books
because what the books lack.
Because you were like, we're not going to look at a book. You're going to go from intuition to like find the things that make you feel this way, that bring up the emotion of what you want to manifest. Yeah. That was the whole thing.
I guess the best way to describe it is like if you were going to pick a color that represented love to you, pick a color that represented friendship. Pick a color that represented success. When you are able to go through that in your mind and not look at books and not look at charts and correspondence tables and all of that, like that's when you start to feel like your magic is more inherent to you, like you're choosing your path, you're making it your own.
Yes.
Because I think I've said this, like the color for air is fucking yellow, and I just don't agree with that. Like in most, it's for everybody it's yellow, and for me it's just not. I'm like, it's either like light blue or white. It's gotta look like the sky and the clouds, because yellow for me is solar plexus. It's sun. It's like, those two things.
Yeah, I don't know why yellow is air.
When somebody tells me like, get a yellow ribbon for air, and I'm like, no, that's not where my mind goes with that. And when we're starting out on our journey, we don't feel like we have the authority to disagree with a book that was like written and published by a witch who's been practicing for 20 fucking years.
Saying. Again, I don't even know how much people are looking at books anymore. Like, is anybody
or websites or whatever?
Yeah, but so you're getting so much of your exposure to what a witch life looks like, or what a witchcraft practice looks like from social media. I feel like a lot of it's coming from social media now at this point in time, especially we got TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and Threads and Twitter and all these places where people can go and talk about witchcraft and share their practices and what they do. But that's what they do.
Yeah. I like it when people put out the information of like, here's what mine looks like. And I like at the end of posts, because I can't, it's really bad, but I can't scroll other people's witchcraft stuff very long, because I'm just like, oh God, that looks exhausting, or that's so much, or are you doing this just
It
for the
does.
social media thing? And like, I judge it too much, and that is me. That's my ego. I'm judging it, and I'm like, what are you really putting out there? And is this helpful? And like, I think all these other things besides, oh, that's really beautiful. But when I do, and I read them, and then at the end, like they say what they're doing, and then they go like, what do you do? They invite people to share their own practices rather than tell them like, this is the right way. Here's how we do this. Like in witchcraft, you know you're a real witch when you do this.
Yeah,
Get the fuck
yeah.
out of here. You know, like so that's why I don't want to piss myself off, so I just avoid the whole thing. But I have some people that I follow because they're really quirky and they live out loud, and they're probably like they're single and they just have their cat. And that for me is sort of hashtag goals in my later years in life, because my husband is 20 years older than me and I know one day I will lose him. So I'm already looking forward to like my hag witch forest life with my cats. Like I've got that covered. The vision is clear for where I'm going to be. And you're all
hag
invited. Yes, because I'm not.
She's never getting out of a dress with pockets.
Yes, like
or a
listen.
swimsuit. Is it a swimsuit or a cover up with pockets?
Listen, I recently wrote like what my future life looks like and how like I'll dress and what my house is and all this. Like I'm gonna paint my house lavender and I'm gonna do all this shit. Okay, but my clothes, because I've always had a really hard time dressing myself. Not that I want to be naked. That's not it. It's just like I don't like modern clothes and I don't like the way I feel in them. I don't like the way they fucking bunch and crunch and stick and poke and crease and all the things. And then most of them are not even fucking convenient because you got no pockets to put shit in when you're like out collecting sticks and berries
unfortunately,
and
a lot
feathers
of
from
them
your
are
yard.
ugly, just ugly.
They're just
ugly patterned
ugly.
material.
I do not.
Cheap
Oh my gosh.
polyester crap.
Yeah, it's plastic. Okay. So my future dress code is going to be, for me, it is going to be some kind of swimsuit, all right? Cute, frilly, whatever, probably in all of the earthy colors. And then basically just cover-ups that are kind of longer, lacy. I'm going to add my own fucking pockets to them, or it's going to be cotton, but deep pockets, because I collect seeds, feathers, twigs, bark, fucking chrysalises that have already hatched. When the cicadas have hatched, I pick up all their little body parts and like, oh my God, look, it's so cute. I build my little cicada army. Like, I have so much. And then I'm usually listening to a podcast or an audiobook or Taylor Swift. And so I need my phone in my pocket. I need my AirPods container in my pocket.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's my life. That's
So
what that looks
important. Yeah,
like.
that's it.
Yes. And so
That's it.
my clothing is going to be the essential part of making my life comfortable when I'm out hagging it in my garden. Like,
Well,
just-
I'm looking
that's
forward
it.
to the point where I'm just wearing nothing but flowing clothes. You
Yeah,
know,
I wear
like-
way more dresses now than I ever thought I would.
like flowing
Yeah.
clothes. I just want to be
And
like.
we're in Florida, so
like-
we don't want shit sticking to
Yeah,
us. and
Florida is like so hot almost all the time.
That's why the swimsuit's essential, because I can strip off my outer layer, jump in the pool and cool off, and then continue my rummaging around the garden.
Yep.
Like,
And
that's
if
what I
you're
do.
me and you don't have a pool, then when you're working in the garden, then you can just put the
Spray
hose over
yourself
your
off.
head.
Yeah, yep.
With your
Absolutely.
or you just work mowing the grass or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why did we get off
Why
on
did we
that?
get on
Oh my gosh, I don't even know.
We're trying to have a conversation about. But I think it's really, since we don't have a syllabus, it's like building your practice, creating your
Yes.
practice. What does that look like? How do you choose how do you start? And I think we've shared what we did. I was exposed
Well,
to
yeah,
you.
actually, we were going to start on my story about how I got started, because
Yeah,
I had
she
no
got
resources.
started, like,
no resources, no people, no internet, no social.
over 25 years ago, more than 25. So you were 17?
98, yeah, 98.
Yeah, so, a long time when there was not much out there for witches.
I want to do quick math. Is that 27 years? 98?
98, yeah, and three
Yeah,
more
2
years,
years.
yeah, in 3 more
Yeah.
years it'll be, yeah, so
27 years ago?
27 years, yeah.
Ooh, that's a long time. Well, and one of the discussions Kat and I had the other day was on our books, and she goes, I've never read all of my books. Like, I use them as references. I was like, yeah, a lot of them are references, but
Jamie's read all of her books, and some front to cover, and sometimes twice.
she said front to cover. Cover to
Covered it. What did I
What?
say? cover to
cover to
whatever, however you
end.
say it,
I don't
yeah.
know. Start to finish, like every
Yeah,
page.
the whole book, yeah.
The whole book. I love to read, but I really like seeing what people have written and the research they've done, because I think when you get into the meat of the books, they start to reference things, and then that
do.
leads me to a new book or
Yeah.
something else.
Well, the thing about it is, like 27 years ago, what were we doing? We didn't have social media to fucking distract us.
No, yeah.
So,
I was
you know,
reading my
now
books.
I'm like
I didn't
on
even
my
have
phone.
audiobooks back then.
I'm on my fucking phone all the time.
I've
which
told
makes
you,
me
like, some of the
crazy.
books that I had, like for the holidays, there were no holiday books when I first started, and that was one of the first things that interested me is following the cycles of the earth, because I really love
that's
that.
that's a kind of a cool place to
start.
Yes. With. Yes, holidays.
And I didn't even call myself a witch probably for the first 10 years of my practice, because that was not an acceptable term.
Nobody was using
I
that.
could call myself pagan or new age or spiritual, or even if I just said I was into tarot, they were like, "Oh, so like you're witchy." I was like, "Oh, okay, see." So, but you had to put in like you had to put yourself in a box first before people understood. If you said you were a witch, they were like, "So you're like taking the neighborhood cats and like sacrificing them?" It was this really bad word for people. They thought it was very demonic still in the late 90s, early 2000s. Even though the craft was out, we had Practical Magic that came out in like, I think 98, 95, I don't know, somewhere right in there.
Yeah.
And people started to kind of switch it and think that, it's really
they wanted to be Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman.
I'm telling you what, the sisters get rid of their terrible exes.
In the house,
that movie starts with a fucking curse. I love that. Nobody ever thinks about it.
Yeah, it does start with a curse, and I didn't think about that. Yeah. So the whole thing about that really made it mainstream, I think.
Because it wasn't so scary, and I love that Sandra Bullock's character creates like a line of healthcare. Because witchcraft to me was always about taking better care of myself, the earth, animals,
and natural.
Natural
stuff.
Things.
Yeah, natural, like things out of your garden that you're growing.
It's getting back in touch with the earth for me. That's why I used to say I was pagan more than anything, because I felt like at least if people, when you said pagan, but some Christians, I didn't know that they thought pagan meant like devil worshiping. I was like, wait, what?
Oh, yeah.
Pagan means of the old country. So I was just like, yeah, like I'm not religious. I really honor the earth. Like that's it. That was my best way to describe it. And one of the reasons why we wanted to talk about this, you guys, is because when we were creating our witch school, right, which we launched last year, we took offline. We've been sort of redoing some things. But when you're going to create a course on witchcraft, or if you're going to take a course on witchcraft, where do you think people are going to have you start? Because to explore that for myself, I've bought other people's courses and I've gone through them and I've looked at it like, okay, well, this is one angle, or here's where you start. And it's very interesting to see that some people, when they think of witchcraft, it's like, this is all shadow work. This is all the healing that you need to do is why people get into witchcraft. And I'm like, well, that doesn't really resonate with me at all. I want this connection to feel like I can do something while I'm here to protect, nature, earth, animals, whatever.
It's like
that lacked one course had nothing on nature.
on honoring the earth,
so weird.
And honoring the earth and taking care of the earth. And,
right.
Yeah.
So there's just different way that people would have you start, and for us it was getting to the basics of, we have these levels of what we think witchcraft really involves, and tools are such a big part of what people see, and practice is something that they don't see. So the next part that I really want to talk about is, even though we have our books and we have all the things online, it would be extremely hard to find, and if somebody knows anybody who's actually putting out what it looks like to do a spell from start to finish, I'm talking about like, they're explaining it all. They're putting the things together. Here's what you're supposed to think about, because that's what books lack too. So when I was building all of that, I was like, okay, so I need to, as I do my own stuff, it's like, write down, say out loud what you're actually doing. Because it's not about just the action. It's more about the mental energy that you're carrying while you're doing the stuff. And nobody says that. Of all these books up here.
Yeah, of all the spell books, they just give you like the ingredients and the words, but there's no
task list.
Yeah, but it's a to-do for sure.
A to-do list.
It's
okay,
a to-do.
Yeah. It's just like,
and there's there's
candle,
absolutely
this,
like no feeling behind it. And I remember in one of the groups that I was, and somebody was telling her story about how she really got screwed over by her husband or old man or whatever, and he screwed around with a best friend or something, and now she was just like, she was of course very hurt, very upset, and wanted a spell to like for a reckoning of some sort. And I was like, all that emotion that you're feeling right now, my advice to her was take all that emotion that you're feeling right now and pour that into whatever you do. It can be very simple. It can be just your thoughts. You don't even have to physically do anything.
Yeah.
But what you want to power that spell is the feeling behind it, because the words
that's what energy is, right?
Yeah, that's the energy. You need the energy you know, you need that, and you need that sustained focus and energetic, that feeling, you know, that you have to channel, if you will, into the action that you want to see. And then you go out and believe it's happened, and then you live like it's happened, and then you wait for it to come to you, or you wait for it to materialize.
It just will. Yeah.
It will. It does.
That's why the mindset stuff and the power, like manifestation and spell work, because even back then, manifestation wasn't a fucking thing. Or at least it wasn't mainstream where you could find stuff on it, right? Like way back when I started, manifestation was not a word like that people used, that you knew, that was in witchcraft, that was in spirituality, nothing. Like now all of these things that are coming out, we're overloaded quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I don't want to talk too much on it because I could probably bitch on this subject for like a very long time, but the fads that come out of stuff where people are just like, can you stop seeing this? And I don't know if you guys have ever felt this way, but every time you get onto a social media thing, you're like another person doing, what was it? Egg cleanse?
The egg
Is that what they
cleanse.
called it? An egg cleanse?
They called it an egg cleanse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where they crack
And-
eggs open, they put it in a jar, they fucking set it in their house, and supposedly it absorbs the negativity, or it shows you what demonic
No,
creatures
I
are
thought
living
it
there.
was like
Oh,
when you
shit.
dropped the egg into the water, and then it made certain things.
Oh,
It
it's
was
in
like,
water?
I
See, I
thought.
didn't even
I
read it because
think
it's like...
it's in water.
Okay.
I think it's. I don't know. There was a lot of them. It seemed like it was in a glass and water, and then the thing that killed me is like. And I'm bitching
What does
here
this
too.
mean?
Yeah, exactly. Everybody's like, "Here's my eggs, and what do you see
does it
in
mean?
this? Like,
Interpret
what is
this
it?"
for me. It's
Yeah,
like-
interpret it for you. And I think that's a really good thing to like, sort of like land on, because I think the goal should be for you to be able to, or I don't want to say you should be able to, but what does it say to you? You know, I mean,
Right.
who cares what other people see in it? They're not you. You're the one who put the energy into this. You're the one who asked the question. You're the one who did the act. You know, you broke the egg. You had something in mind that you were. Yeah, I don't.
Or
I
they
don't even-
didn't. But
I don't even know.
that's the thing where I'm like, why are you doing this if you don't even know why you're doing this?
Yeah.
That is what I find very frustrating about the witchcraft fads that you'll see, is that they get the people to do it, you know, so these accounts like blow up because
Yeah,
that's not even the
blow
point of...
cinnamon. It's the first of the month. Blow cinnamon out your front door. Like, what does that do exactly? Because you're told to do it, but then you're like,
Well, that's like eggshells on your fucking windows. So the ground up eggshells, I've seen that. The salt, you know, which is corrosive. So there's all these things that people do. And what I'd love to go back and know, I'd like to like poll these people and like, so how did this go for you? What did you find was helpful? When did you get pissed off that like also your salt started eating the paint off your window seal? And, you know, so like just the shit like that where I'm going, you did this. And they believe in something. And I love that. At least they're doing it because they believe that it works. And they have that like faith maybe, or they're doing it out of fear. So you're either doing it out of faith or fear, one or the other. But then when like nothing happens or something stupid, it really, you know how that affects them negatively is that now they're building mistrust in a practice that they weren't fully aligned with, and they did the thing and now they're like disappointed or it didn't work out. You're like, that was fucking stupid. How many other things are stupid? And they lose their hope and all of their, I don't know. I kind of think of the hopes and dreams of what your witchcraft practice can be that makes you feel a certain way. Because I think that that's what we get from it. We feel more serene. We feel more whole. We feel more connected.
That I think
when
is,
you have your own practice.
I think that's definitely the goal, is a sort of a peaceful place, if you will, even if it's just for a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even if you're surrounded by chaos, but if you can like come into yourself and, you know, for 5 minutes meditate and think about, remember who you are, you know,
Yeah.
that you're here learning, that this is supposed to be hard, that, you know, that these are trials and tribulations that we're all going through, then you can, you know,
Sorry, I just had an inspired
that,
thought.
then you can, you know, the chaos around you can disappear, at least for that moment, and you can find some peace. And I think that's what, ultimately, I think there's a peace that comes with this when you're finally like let go of the expectations of the world, the expectations that you even have on yourself, where you're just like, listen, I'm just gonna like vibe with the trees and the grass and my
And
plants.
that's enough, right?
And that's and that
enough.
makes me happy, and
Yes.
it makes me like peaceful.
Right.
So what was your
My inspired thought? Oh
what
my
was your
God.
inspired thought? What triggered it? What did I say? I said something.
Yeah, because it was, you know, when you're talking, like I'm getting images and stuff. And what it was is, before we hit record, we were talking about iron because I just had my sixth, why do I feel confused saying this? My 6th wedding anniversary?
Yes.
It just doesn't feel like the right way to say it.
Yeah.
My dyslexia wants to fuck me up. My 6-year anniversary of wedding, I don't know.
Yeah.
Is iron. And so we were talking about something funny, like my husband gave me a Game of Thrones coin, whatever, because we're nerdy. But iron is something that I wrote, I wrote a spell that we were planning on putting on the website. So, you know, I write some of these things, and instead of just like writing out a spell and being like, bam, here's a spell, do these things, whatever. It's like, I want people to connect with it. So I don't even know if you've seen it yet.
I haven't seen it yet. It did pop up in my stuff, and I was like, oh, I was supposed to put that on the website.
Yeah. Well,
I'm on vacation, just started vacation,
Yeah.
so I have like 10 days to get my shit together
Yeah.
and actually do some Witch Works work. We've been a little distracted for months now with health things.
yeah, finally coming out of all that.
Yeah.
But not truly, because this actually connects back to like Cameron's low hemoglobin and like needing iron supplements and all this. So iron has actually been a focal point for me for the last couple of months because Cameron needed those 8 transfusions because his hemoglobin was so low. Like he was in the 7s, like really scary levels and just all the things. Well, anyways, and then my husband got me an iron coin because it's the 6-year thing. I was like, I don't know.
I feel like there's a theme
So
here.
there's
The
iron.
universe.
And then I wrote the iron spell. Yeah.
So the universe is like, yeah, all these things, like
things.
the synchronicities, right?
So what the spell will say, and we'll get that on the website so you guys can go look at it, but at the bottom of it, to help you connect to what you're doing, the spell of it, whatever, is that to remember who we are and what we're made of. Like we are literally made of
Stardust.
dust. You can say dust because iron is only fucking formed. The iron that is in our blood, the iron that is metal on the plant, the iron, okay, that material is only formed when a star dies and explodes and shoots that material across the fucking universe. And so like my mind was just getting blown more and more as I had looked into that. And so I think it was a confidence spell that I was writing. And that was one of the things to remember. Like when you're feeling like you don't belong, like you don't have that confidence, like you don't know what you're doing, you are engineered from stardust. Like that is what's flowing through our bodies, right? Like we have collapsed star material in our blood that makes us live. It's the thing that actually carries the oxygen that we breathe in from this earth, very specifically, very lightly attached, right, as the blood cell is created and, you know, carries the oxygen from one place to the other. And it's red like rust because it's oxygenated. That goes into our body. We absorb the oxygen molecule, pulls off of the iron molecule, and we absorb that oxygen. And that's why our blood is then blue, because it's iron that's no longer oxidated. So the fucking craziness of that is just like to remember how rare, special, unique, amazing we are, like how we're built, everything that fucking happens. And as women, we have so much of this that we just like bleed it out once a month. We're like, here world, there you go, there's my gift to you. Like I'm not even having a child, but like here's just some blood because this is what I make. Like it's fucking star particles just coming out of us every month. Like, I got into this really weird rabbit hole as I do with things, and it was iron. Yeah, and just
Iron.
how
I love
it
that.
is only made when stars collapse. That's the only time that's made.
I just came across something that just said, you know, we're all made of stars. It was
But now you know which part of you is made of stars. It's
Yeah.
our fucking blood.
yeah. So it was. I think I was reading about the Hubble what's out there, the Hubble spacecraft that's taking pictures. Yeah, the telescope that's taking pictures like way out in the universe, and it was talking about like all of it. This whole article about this, like it was fascinating, and it was really about the stardust and how we're, you know, the whole universe is made from these exploding stars from like galaxies ago and eons ago, and
but gazillion years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Just, I mean, so that's what lives in us. Like that is what we're made of, and it just. That's what I'm still working on myself with confidence, as you guys know. Here, I've already said it before, like I can be on YouTube a million times and it doesn't bother me at all, but for some reason putting myself out on social media, like I have real fear or anxiety around that, and I don't fucking know why. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I judge other people so harshly. I think I'll be judged. Like I don't fucking know, but I don't like it. I want to fix it, so I'm working on my own self. with that, and the confidence thing came up, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. And then when I'm doing the spell, that was one of the things that I'm thinking about is like, I literally have ancient stardust in my blood right now. Like, how could I feel small?
pretty
How could I
magical.
feel not connected
Yeah.
to all the things?
To everything, to the
It's,
whole
like,
universe,
wild.
yeah.
You know, so
To the universe
There you
and
go.
what came before us from
Yeah.
millennial.
for how long? I mean, because, you know, in our human form, we consider time, like, you know, our lives, and this, we live in a time construct, basically. So for us to think about what it took to get that stardust, so that star lived for a bazillion years. First off, it had to live, and then it had to die and explode, and then it had to send its essence out across the universe. Then it had to land on Earth, and Earth had to be like populated by whatever, you know, humans and alien combination, I don't know, whatever you believe in. And then it had to wait how many thousands of years for Jamie to be inside of Kat, who was inside of Nancy, to be born into me. I was like, fuck, that's a mind trip. Like, I haven't done mushrooms yet in my life or experienced some kind of thing, but I feel like just walking myself through that, I was like, I need to be in a neon room of like dark black lights right now and be like, whoa, this is trippy, man. Like, just thinking about it like that, you know? So,
All right, so we talked about fads. And I think
it's
the
a
point-
distraction.
Fads are a distraction.
Fads
are
can be a
absolute-
distraction.
Fads are absolutely a distraction. And they're not, I mean, unless, I don't know how to explain, how to say
No, we're
this
trying
without,
not to be rude to other
Yeah,
people's
I don't wanna be
practices.
rude. Exactly.
I think
I
that
don't-
they have a time and place, right? Like, I do
Yeah.
think that when people did it, I think maybe there was some genuineness to it. And yeah, I looked into the whole history of it and all this other shit. And then there was a lot of controversy on people putting it online and what they were actually saying and, like, obviously, you know, practices. But I
Was
like,
anybody
yeah,
doing
it's
egg
just
cleanse
not
now
for
that they're
me.
like $8 for?
I know, this was really funny. So witchcraft is all like hip and like, you know, so they thought, let's keep witches down. All right, eggs, we're going to just triple that fucking price. Go ahead and do your egg cleanses now, which is like, I thought of so many funny memes that you could do as like sort of like witches and these egg cleansings and how they became all fucking popular. It's like, why though? My first thing was just like, what a waste. I was like, ooh,
Well, my thing
I
about
don't
the
like
egg
waste.
cleanse is like you're cleansing what? Negative energy. There's other ways to do that are like a lot, I feel like
But
far
it's
more.
not as gratifying to go like, ooh, look at this spooky, weird image. And here's what I thought. We're fucking going on fads again. I told you guys to talk about it for 30 minutes. You want to know how you could get the egg to look really weird if you're putting it in water?
How?
Use fucking warm water. Like, egg white cooks so easily.
Oh, yeah.
And so if you set it somewhere where there's fucking sunlight, yeah, it's going to look weird and wonky because you're having a half-cooked egg with the white shit, you know.
Well, yeah, there's a chemical change going on there
Yeah.
from the warmth of the, yeah.
So, yeah, you probably didn't have a demon in your house. You probably just set it somewhere warm. I don't know. My practical mind overrides stuff like that. I can't help myself.
Well, and I just, the cinnamon for protection, I'd rather just put a rosemary plant by my door,
Yes.
than to blow cinnamon out the door, I've never done that. And I've always just thought it was like, no, if you do this and you love it and you get something out of it, hey, more
And it
power
makes
to
you feel
And it
magical
makes you-
and
it makes
powerful
you
and-
feel
yeah.
magical, then
Right.
if that's what makes you feel magical, or anything, egg cleanse or whatever the fads are, if it truly makes you feel magical, by all means, make that a part of your practice. But if it doesn't do that and you're just performing because someone said this is what you're supposed to
'Cause
do
it's
because it's the
popular.
first of the
Yeah,
month,
right.
all witches blow. I mean, if that whole practice
do that.
doesn't bring you something, you got to feel something about it. You got to feel a little bit
Belief or fear. You're going to have one or the other. Belief or fear.
magic, some kind of magic about it. It's got to feel magical
Mm-hmm.
in some kind of way. And if it doesn't, then you're just blowing cinnamon out the door. For what?
That sounds like kind of like one of those things, like whatever blows your hair back, like, sure, whatever you want to do.
I'm sorry, and we're really not, like I said, if this is part of your practice, then please do
I know.
it. But if you're just
Not
doing
trying
it
to
for
make fun.
performance,
Right.
then if you're just doing it because you saw it on
Because it's popular.
TikTok, and
We're
it's
talking about it
popular.
as a fad, not
Yeah,
as
as a
a
fad.
something
Yeah.
you were already doing before that happened,
Yeah.
right? It's like, I don't know. I have dried rosemary hanging on the back of my door, and Number one, it's not fucking messy. And does everybody know that when you get cinnamon wet, it actually gets
Coagulates.
Yeah. It turns into
It makes a fucking mess.
It makes a gel, like it gels up. So can you imagine if somebody like put that shit out there and then they slip and bust their ass later? Like, I don't know. I just think about the practical side of the things. So, anywho, we wanted you to think about that. When you're starting your practice, it's very easy to get caught up in the fads that you see when you go to look for information and to find things that resonate with you. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, witches do this and they do that and they do that and they do that. And there might be this pressure to feel like, if I'm not doing that, am I a real witch? If I'm not doing that, am I like missing out on something? So when you start creating your practice, think about the way that I say it is practices are born out of needs from your life. They're born out of the necessity of the thing. Like, I don't need to blow cinnamon through my front door. I have other things that I'm doing that are more relevant to my life because of whatever I'm working on at that time. Just like I've never done a love spell before. I've just never done a love spell. I don't know. Like, I've seen lots of them. I've done self-love spells. That's different. But I've never done a love spell. And I probably never will because it's never going to fit in my practice. And that's okay for me. But other people might be like all about finding the love, doing the love, getting the person, the mate, the whatever. So when we have the fads come in and they're like, you might need fucking, shadow work and trauma healing and whatever. So you should be doing spells for that. Self-confidence, love, believing in who you are. And they're over here going, protect your space from this and blow cinnamon for this. And all of a sudden you're like, damn, do I even need to be doing these practices? No, I need to focus on this other thing that's really important. So your practices should be built out of your needs, not out of what's popular.
What is it?
What do you need to work on right now?
Well, what is it that you're trying to change in your life? What is it that you're unhappy with or unsettled with or dissatisfied
trying
with?
To bring in or push away. Remember, spells are always about you're bringing something in, you're pushing something out.
What would you like to bring into your life that you don't have? Or
what do you want to get rid of?
What would you like to get out of your life that you're like, I'm really unhappy with this and I want this to change?
Yes,
so
exactly.
That's the need, So witchcraft, what your practices, your rituals, the things that you do should be about addressing a need that you have.
Absolutely.
And if it's, there's lots of ways to achieve meeting those needs. So
that's where you can really explore how everybody does it and then find the thing. But I think it starts with like purpose first.
Yes.
And then just leave out the word intentions. Have your intentions set to whatever. Like that just becomes also very overwhelming to constantly try to stay present. Don't worry about that part. But what's the need you have? Okay, so up here in your brain's going like, God, we really need to change that. Or I need to really focus on this. Or, what are you trying to get better at?
I'm really unhappy with the way I feel about, my life right now. And I really want to make a change. I need to, make progress. Maybe you're stuck. With
my stuckness lasts when I left Cameron's dad.
Yeah,
I was stuck in a very sad place for a long time, and it took a couple years for me to work on myself. My whole practice was me refining myself, accepting that I left my kid's dad. Like that was 2 years of my practice.
Yeah,
whole focus.
My last relationship was 15 years, and to leave that all behind, and that was about 2.5, maybe even 3 years of me working through it. And it wasn't something that I was actively thinking about every day, but there would be times where I would get really sad, or I would get angry, or I would just feel really depressed about it, or my ex would reach out and then all those feelings would come back up again. And it took me a long time to finally get to the place where I could let it go. And I had processing to do, and I had my practice was to try to find peace in all of that, in all of those feelings, to try, what I really wanted was for the pain to go away, for that pain of what I lost, what I'd hoped my future would be, the sadness behind it. Well, that's what I wanted to disappear, and those things take time and they ebb and flow as you're going through a big change like that, where it's like with you leaving Cameron's dad, and that was like you had your whole, we and I think women, we tend to do this. We like plot out our whole life. We're like, get with somebody, we're like going to have a baby, and then we're going to live our lives, and we're going to have, we're going to do all these things, and you make plans with that person, and then shit falls apart, and now you're like, now what? Because that was the life, that was the only life that I envisioned.
That was my path
for myself. That was my path, and now I got to find something else. Plus, I got to deal with the pain of losing what I thought was my life.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I was going to ask you, what were some of the practices that you did when, we have these days where like everything's good and then you have the fall down, so it's very cyclical, but there's the ebb and flow of our emotions and when it affects us more.
There were times when I wrote things down. There was times when I journaled.
Yep.
There were times when I looked to tarot for answers to just kind of like,
needing a message,
like getting a message.
Yeah.
There were times when just like going to the beach and just being near, the water.
So nature
was being out in nature was, I found, really soothing and comforting. So like I could feel very sad or down, and then I could go to the beach and I could be in the water and it would change my whole mood, like everything would change because I would be like one with the mother,
Right.
and I'm a water sign, so though I really connect with the water. And and again, this is not something I was doing on a daily basis or that I had the need to do on a daily basis. This ebbed and flowed over the course of 2.5 to maybe 3 years before I was finally able to be like, okay, I think I'm finally through it, and I like forgive, I forgive what happened. I'm not going to dwell on, whatever he did, she did, all that bullshit, right? Because what's the point of that? And just like forgive so I can like move on. Now I can have my life. Now I'm happy. I'm happy and I'm not with anybody, and I'm okay with that. Like I'm in a good place.
I think you prefer it right now. You prefer it.
I actually do. I actually do.
Which I don't think she ever thought she'd get to.
No, I didn't. But you know what? Honestly, I'm pretty sick of taking care of people and taking care of houses and shit like that, and I just don't want to fucking do it anymore.
There you go.
And so I don't want, if being with a man means that I gotta fucking do his laundry and do his cooking for him, I'm gonna pass on that because I'm just gonna make myself a sandwich
and snuggle up with Tank in bed and be like, I'm fucking
gonna
great.
read my books and I'm gonna watch my fucking Netflix shows that I like or whatever. I'm gonna do my own, or I'm gonna play with my plants. I'm gonna go like, if those plants need repotting, I need new plants. I'm going to the plant store.
If you think about it, this is the first time in your life where you actually can be really selfish with your time, your hobbies, with everything, and you've never had that because you had a child at 19. So you're still a mom.
Listen, I hooked up with John's dad when I was 17.
Yeah.
So I've been taking care of motherfuckers since I was 17. And that's exactly how I feel about it. Because women from my era anyway were like, you had the role.
Yeah.
You had the role of, I wasn't a wife, but the role of this is what women do. They take care of the children, they take care of the house, they do all the grocery shopping, they do all the laundry, they do all these, they do everything that has to do with the home. They take care of everything. Yeah, and this is the first time in my life where I'm like, I don't really fucking care. And I just told Jamie that I was like, I don't want to cook. Yeah, I don't want to cook anymore. So I try to make it really easy. With my grandson living with me, I have to cook because he needs like nutritious food where I can just eat a sandwich.
He actually loves sandwiches and would eat a sandwich every day also, but she feels the need to still do some of these things. But she's like, I ain't doing it every night. And I was like, don't do it every night. Why would you do it?
I cannot cook. So if the next guy that I'm with, he better be a good cook. If I even decide to go down that path again, it's like, I just don't know. Right now I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm really content, where I am. And
so is there anything you're currently working on with spells, rituals, or anything that, or is your practice at one of the flow, right? The ebb and flow of it. It's like, no, I don't really need anything right now.
Right now the thing that I'm focused on so much is learning astrology. So that's it, that's what I have the capacity. That's what I have the capacity for right now because it's a big subject.
Yeah.
It's a lot of learning. It's a huge thing that I want to do because ultimately what I want to do is read charts for other people and teach other people how to do that. Yeah. So, that's big. That's huge. Yeah. That's but it's a goal of mine, and that's where I'm at. And so that is my practice right now. Excuse me.
I think that's something we definitely didn't discuss in this, but in a witchcraft practice, you should never stop learning, researching, acquiring skill. Like whatever you're going to do, whatever tools you're working with, learn it to where you feel satisfied and you're like, okay, I'm going to pick something else up. That's probably why I do have an extensive library because I've gone down lots of different rabbit holes for things. all of the holidays. I've read each of those holiday books.
Palmistry, numerology, tarot.
Those were my huge ones. I mean, I read palms for forever.
Yeah,
I mean,
numerology.
And numerology.
Those are all like
I
great
love
things.
it.
Even though you may not see witches on TikTok or whatever talking about numerology or palmistry, those are all things that are, you're divining.
They're tools.
They're
Yeah.
and you are like seeking guidance from your higher self or your spirit self or the spirit side,
or you're trying to help other people
you're
get it.
trying to help other people, so it is definitely part of the practice, even though traditionally
it wasn't grouped in with that.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah,
probably
divination
not.
wasn't really like, I don't know that
Just witchcraft.
if we had a witchcraft syllabus, would divination be on it? I would put it on there. Absolutely, because it's a tool that
Yeah.
witches can use.
Well, that's why in the course that we created, we go through tools,
Yes.
right? It's not every tool you could ever use, but like these are the most common, easy to work with. You can manage it. The last thing you want is for your spiritual practice to become overwhelming and then you feel like you're not good at it or you're failing it, because that doesn't make you feel good. So it's like just learning
If you're
things.
doing anything that makes you feel like you're failing, give that up.
Yeah, that's not
my
feeding your
recommendation,
soul.
because
Yeah.
it's not for you at that time. It doesn't mean you can't circle back to it, but at that time it's not a good fit for whatever's going on in your life. Because again, I'm going to go back to what you said 15 minutes ago, which was that your practice and traditions are born out of need.
They're born out of your needs,
So
yeah.
to determine like, how do you start your practice, what do you do, what rituals do you follow, what spells, what kind of things do you want to explore and learn about, what's your need.
What's your need?
What is
what
the
do you
need
need today,
right now? Yeah,
right.
what is the thing that you need?
That's where I would
And then you go
tell people to
find
start.
then you find the
Find the
things
tool, find the practice,
you find,
find the-
and you try, and you might have to try a couple of different things before you find the thing that satisfies the need. And again, it's not a one and done. Typically not a one and done, because when we're going through shit and we have these needs, like being dissatisfied with our life or where we are in our life or who we're with in our life or who we are personally in our lives, these things take time. You evolve as you work on them, and then you put them down, you put the practices down, and then you go back to your life, and then something happens and it's like, there's that feeling coming up again of me not feeling worthy because something triggered it, right? And so that's the time when you can like, all right, what do I need when I'm feeling like I don't have any worth in the world, to the people that are supposed to love me or whatever, just this feeling of worthlessness, or not being valued. Then what is the thing that makes you feel valued? What do you do, to bring yourself back to center, where you're like, if it's standing in the mirror, if it's affirmations, or it's, we have a lot of tools
So many
We have a
tools.
lot of tools that we can draw from
Yeah.
to help us satisfy, that need and kind of grow our souls. I really think that's what we're doing in witchcraft, is we're actually really growing our souls to our highest and best self.
Right.
That's ultimately the goal.
Absolutely.
I don't think that gets talked about enough in witchcraft.
What the purpose is.
Yeah, I don't
like
think
the
that-
reasons behind we do it all.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I realized after a few years was that I heard something, read something, and it was like, it described someone that described a person that I was like, I really like who that person is. I can be that person. I can be that kinder person. I can be that nicer person, because I went through my whole life with walls, like huge walls built up around my heart and myself, and like keeping people out. And because, when you're fucked over enough times, you learn not to trust. And then that started like super young. So, all the time I was guarded. And I finally realized that for me to really be myself, to who I wanted to be, which was a kinder person in the world and just spread kindness and joy in the world, is I had to start letting that down. I had to start chipping away at, all of that past stuff. So
I realized something when you were talking, that one of the reasons I might resent, I guess that's the best word I came up with in my head, like religion, is the expectation that's placed on you to do things when you don't want to do them. And that's, so I think
like
about
what?
that.
Give me an example.
You have to go to church every Sunday.
Oh, fuck.
You have to. Like that is
Well,
what
you're expected to, yeah. And if
well, that's the thing.
then
There's
people
this
are
other
judging
people
you.
put the expectation
Yeah.
on you, and so you don't get to practice when you need to. That's what
Yeah,
think
and
that's
on
where-
Sunday. You're going to church on Sunday, so if you're having a problem on Saturday, you're kind of fucked, right?
That's the
Unless
thing,
you-
right?
unless
Because it's
you
like
have-
very,
yeah.
I don't know. I just realized that was always, I always felt like that was such an unfair thing to put on people as an expectation. Is like every Sunday at this time you need to be at church, and I'm like, well,
But why?
what if you're not all the things where life comes up, and what if you really needed to like see all your people on Thursday because you had a really fucking hard day and you need your community, your group. I think that's what separates out a practice like witchcraft or spirituality, tarot, your witch friends, your sisterhood, all of that, compared to a church thing where it's so structured and it's not really. I mean, I haven't been deep into the churches that I have attended in the past, but it's like, that was it. Show up, show your face. They're like, you're doing great.
Well, I think the reason for like the church, in my view anyway, kind of serves this the sermon. I'm just going to go with, because every church service there's a sermon. They go through their little rituals where they talk about stuff and they pass the plate, but then there's a point where the preacher or the priest or whoever it is, and not the priest, because that's not what Catholics do. There's no sermon. There's just reading from a Bible and a whole bunch of fucking rituals. But usually that pastor or preacher comes with a message from that day. And, it's like some passage you read in the Bible, and then he's like talking about it for 30 minutes or whatever. And that's supposed, so what if the message of that day doesn't even have, you can't relate to it? With witchcraft, you can be the whatever
different
your
oracle
need.
cards, tarot cards. You can go to
what
like
is
all
your
these
need
different
today?
areas.
What do you need today, my child?
Yeah.
This is the
My
universe.
child.
The universe is saying to you, what do you need today?
What do you need today, goddess?
What do you need today, my child? And it's here for you. It's all around you.
Yeah. That's why I think of nature as the church, right?
Yeah,
Like you step
yeah.
out into it anytime you need it. It's always there.
Absolutely, yeah.
It doesn't have hours on it.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to go out to the beach before the hurricanes, and like I had this one spot in between where people couldn't really see me. So when the sun did start rising, nobody could see me really. They'd be like walking
Were
and
you
talking.
up there in the dunes and the
Yes,
grass?
there was the sand
I
dunes
know
and there
where
was
you're
really
talking.
tall grass and
we
stuff.
Did, we did that spell back there for Jolene that one time, didn't we? Protection
maybe.
spell.
I thought that was more on the beach because the three of us can't fit in that little spot that was back there.
Oh, okay. Well,
All wiped out now, though. I don't have a spot.
yeah, everything is gone
Yeah.
because of multiple hurricanes. But
Yeah. So our whole reason for getting into this is because witchcraft doesn't come with a syllabus, and when you want to start, like, how do you build your practice? What are you looking at? Where do you go? And this is a question that I got asked forever, which is why we ended up starting the New Witches Q&A, and then we did like the meetup, and then we did the YouTube channel, and now we've built a school for it, and sort of introduction to all of the places that witchcraft can take you. But truly, when you're building it for yourself, get exposure to all of that, but start with what you need. What do you need today? What do you need for yourself? What do you want to push out of your life? What do you want to bring into your life? If you start with those really simple questions, building your practice will be for you and not somebody else's expectations of what you should be doing and what you should know and what you should have and dress like.
I think
and
the
all of
other
things.
the other thing that you get when you take that approach to witchcraft is like determining what you need and then finding a ritual, a practice, a spell, whatever that satisfies
mantra.
that need.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that
Anything.
satisfies that needs
Yeah.
is then you're actually using the most. You're using your intuition because you're letting your intuition guide you to what you need. So, and then if if you're like, I think I'm going to let me try, I heard this, let me try it. And if that doesn't resonate with you, then you put it down and you try something else that you need. So
That's
you're letting,
not said enough,
so
yeah.
you're letting, so you're being guided internally by what your need is. And when you find the thing, the ritual, the spell, the practice, whatever it is, that soothes you, that's when I think you know that you found the right thing for that particular moment in time and that need that you have at that time.
Yeah. Well, we love you guys so much. That's why we do these. If you think that this could help somebody else or if it helped you, we'd love to hear back from you guys. This is episode 44. Can't believe we've been doing this 44 times now. It's like I feel like we started yesterday. I think we're getting better at it. I don't know, but we really love you guys and we want to see you and help you and like guide you in whatever way we can.
Yeah.
And if sometimes it resonates with you and sometimes it doesn't, we want you to know that that's okay. I used to say it a lot more, that each person that you find that you learn from, there's going to be a time where you finally are like, oh man, this doesn't resonate with me anymore. Now you kind of need a new influence, teacher, a guide, whatever it is. We want you to know that there's always stepping stones, and we are okay when you're no longer standing on our stone and you're going to your next stone, your next step.
Yeah,
that means growth. Like, it's exciting.
Well, and it makes me think of, then there will come a time when you will move on from,
Each
WitchWorks
thing.
and New
All
Witch
the
Academy,
things.
with all the things,
Yeah.
right? And it makes me think of one of our the people that was in our group, who was really active in our group. I'm not going to say her name, but I'm not going to say her because I just don't want to put her on
We're
blast.
not blasting
I
people,
don't
no.
want to put her on
But
blast.
you have
But she
me
was part of our
confused
group.
'cause I
She
don't
was
know what
like
you're
every
talking about.
week she was on the meetups with us, and then eventually she kind of like went off and had her life, and now she's like in a really happy relationship with somebody, and I see her on Facebook, and she's like her whole from where she who
I
I'm
know,
talking
yes,
about, right?
I do.
So from where she
I
was
miss
when
her.
I know, me too. From where she was when she was part of
my
our group,
gosh,
where she was kind of
yeah.
like really going through some hard shit in her
Yeah.
life and looking for answers. And she stayed with us for a really long time, and then she sort of like went off and she met somebody, and then things just started like going in her life. And I see her on Facebook, and it makes me so happy when I see her happy with her
Yeah.
friends, and she's doing stuff with the guy that she's with.
Yeah.
And I think they just celebrated a couple years together, and I'm like, it just really,
I know.
it really like yeah,
Warms your heart.
it really,
I know.
it really does. It makes me
Yeah.
really happy. And she's not part, we don't have the meetup group anymore, but I think she's in a place now where she probably doesn't need that. She doesn't need what she came
The
to that group
support
for
from us, yeah.
when she first joined us, and
Yeah.
she stayed with us for so long, and she was very active, and she would talk and stuff like that and share what was going on in her life. So, and that's how it goes.
That's what we always probably hope for,
Yeah,
right? Because we're going to
exactly.
continue to be here for new witches coming in, and as new witches turn into intermediate or old witch, I don't even know what the word would be like.
Well, what happens is
Advancement.
is growth happens.
yeah.
I think soul growth happens.
Yeah.
You start to let go of some of the things that the world has told you, like that you have to be and have to do, and you start realizing, no, you don't. You can be who and what you want to be, and you can stop
That's right.
listening to your mother or your friend or your sister or whoever is telling you that there's only one way for you to be, because that's not true.
Yeah.
And the thing that I love about witchcraft is you can be the kind of witch you want to be, whatever that feels like to you, as
Yeah.
long as it aligns with you and it's making you or it's helping you grow to be like this better person. Because I really feel like the ultimate goal of witchcraft is for us to become better people, for us to become more aware of other people in the world, so that we're not like selfish. I just had an experience today, and I was sharing this with Jamie. I went to give blood this morning, and I had an 8:00 appointment. And because I wanted to get it done, because we planned to record this podcast. And I was like, let me go get this done. They called me the other day. They said they had something happen and they were short on blood, and could I come in and give blood? So I get there this morning thinking like at 1:45, when I think they open at 8:00, I'm like, I'm going to be first. Because when you go in to give blood, you got to like go, if you've ever done it, you go through a whole check-in process. You got to fill out these forms. You got to answer a bunch of questions. You get poked, you get temperature, blood pressure, all these things they do with you. So there's like a check-in process, which is probably about 15 minutes before you're actually like taken back and they can draw blood, because they got to make sure you're healthy. So I get there at like 10 till 8, and thinking I'm going to be the first one, and I see a man walking from the parking lot. I was like, he's going to the blood center. And sure enough, he was. And then I look over, and there's already another man sitting, and I'm like, God damn it, I don't want to have
She
to
wanted
wait.
to be first.
I wanted to be first, and I didn't want to have to sit around and wait for two other people, because it's like 15 minutes for him, then 15 minutes for him. So I'm going to be waiting 30 minutes, so I was annoyed with it, right? And then I get in there, and I get into a room that I don't usually go in, where they're doing all the questions and stuff that you got to answer. And there's a poster on the wall about a woman who had cancer. It's a story about a woman, Carissa or something was her name. She had cancer, and she'd gotten so many transfusions, and I just thought to myself, it really put it into perspective for me. It's like, I'm not here, my my time is not so valuable that I can't, my ego, it was my ego talking is what I realized is like, oh, your time's so important that you can't wait 15 minutes to give blood for people who need blood to fucking live.
Right.
Like, that's the
Yeah.
reason why I'm doing it. Like, okay, so it's kind of like a little check on my ego.
Put it into perspective of
Put it into perspective, and I was like, okay. And so after that, I was just like, I'm gonna not have that attitude. I'm not gonna come here and go like, I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Baby, shut the fuck up.
Look at her becoming a better person.
Yeah, look at me.
The whole point of that.
That's like the goal, right? Is to become this less egotistical.
It's self-awareness.
Yeah, it is self-awareness.
Of your
It's
thoughts,
so
of your
much
attitudes, of
self-awareness.
your biases, of everything. You become this
yeah.
more self-aware person.
Yes.
It's not that you necessarily have to become nicer and allowing and all of that. No, because we need to have our healthy boundaries. But you can start to see where...
But it does help
You
to be
know.
nicer, because I think being nicer makes me happier than being bitchy.
Who likes being pissed off? I annoy myself when I'm annoyed. Like, my annoyed self
Your
is
annoyed self.
annoying. It's annoying.
I know, me too. I'm like, what is wrong with you today?
Yeah. My pissed off self, also not that fun.
So this is what we're trying to evolve to, is
Yeah.
a person who spends less time being mad and more time being grateful and aware of what's going on around us, so that we can like appreciate the time, because we're here for like a little blip in time. Really, boop, boop, and we're gone. And that's all we got. So, try to make it the best that we can, and the best not just for us, but also for the world around us and the people around us.
And we feel like witchcraft is one of those
Yeah.
practices that really does that. Yeah.
All right, so I think, are we at...
Are we checking time?
I don't know.
We-
Oh,
we
God,
just-
we went
we-
over. We're
we go
120?
until-
No, we're like 110, because
Okay.
we talked for like 10 minutes before. All right,
set
which
it.
is, well, like Jamie said, we love you.
We love you.
We're here for you.
Yes.
If this helps you,
Awesome.
leave a comment or something.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Yeah.
Or
if there's something that you want us to
Yeah,
talk
if
about
you
or
want us to
hear.
talk about, yeah,
Because we
let
just
us know.
planned out the next 6 months
Yeah.
of like topics that we're going to go through. So if you want us to throw anything in there about something you might be struggling with or something that's really unclear in the witchcraft world.
yes, please comment.
yeah.
Please
Oh my
let us
gosh,
know. Yeah.
Ideas would be,
Yeah.
great. Otherwise, we will see you next week. See you, hear you, listen to you.
Until
We'll
next
see
time,
you,
witches.
yeah. Love you
Stay
guys.
magical.
Bye.
Love you.